Okay, page 77. If you notice, there's not a whole lot of things written on this margin, but we're going to read through. It has to do with making amends, and we'll read through and see if it creates questions or something that we need to talk about. Page 77, right in the middle of page 77. This part's highlighted. We don't use this as an excuse for shying away from the subject of God. When it will serve any good purpose, we are willing to announce our convictions with tact and common sense. So that part's highlighted. Then it says, the question of how to approach the man we hated will arise. It may be he has done us more harm than we have done him, and though we may have acquired a better attitude toward him, we are still not too keen about admitting our faults. Nevertheless, with a person we dislike, we take the bit in our teeth. It is harder to go to an enemy than to a friend, but we find it much more beneficial to us. We go to him in a helpful and forgiving spirit, confessing our former ill feeling and expressing our regret. And then next paragraph. Under no condition do we criticize such a person or argue. Simply we tell him that we will never get over drinking until we have done our utmost to straighten out our past. We are there to sweep off our side of the street, realizing that nothing worthwhile can be accomplished until we do so. Never trying to tell him what he should do. His faults are not discussed. We stick to our own. If our manner is calm, frank, and open, we will be gratified with the results. Okay, I got something to say. I know people think a year is a long time in a recovery program, but actually, it's not long at all. It's not even long enough. I've seen people where they stay stuck for 6 months. Stay stuck for 6 months. They might go through the motions, but they stay stuck for 6 months. We still have people in our program that have destructive behavior. So, that means you're still causing harm and you still don't make amends. Even presently, when you do destructive behavior within the program, you still don't make amends. You're still not in that mindset to make amends. I'll give you an example of a person we just exited from the program. People get focused on creating drama, and they get into other people's business instead of focusing on their own flaws and things they got to work on. And I was almost ready to put out half the program down in the men's program yesterday. It got that bad. And it was all over a bunch of nonsense. And I'm not going to give you names or anything. I'm just going to tell you the situation. An individual that we were very gracious to in coming back to the program. We give the obvious explanation. You got to take a step up now. This isn't your first time here. This is your second time here. You got to take a step up, show that you're serious, and you got to stay out of cliques. You know what a clique is? Yeah. Like you get 3 bad people together and they love to gossip and create a bunch of grief and trouble. And people who are not recovering tend to gravitate toward other people that are not recovering. It says if you're wise and you hang out with the wise, you'll become wiser. If you have a companion of fools, you become more foolish. And you can pretty well tell where someone's at by who they hang out with. It's very obvious, who they hang out with. And here, there are issues with people bad-mouthing the house managers who sometimes have to be the eyes and ears to keep things straight. You know what I mean? I mean, staff can't be around all the time. And so sometimes people don't like to be told what to do. Am I right?
Yeah.
And it's usually the ones that are not humble and they're in a state of rebellion. They just don't like resistance to the rebellion. You know, you go in the kitchen when you're not supposed to. Okay, you need to leave. Well, you just offended me, house manager. You told me to leave. I'm going to talk about you tonight. You know, that kind of attitude. And just a lot of trouble. Now, the person vandalized our recovery board. You know, like you got a recovery board up here? Vandalized the recovery board. On the board, we have a very nice list of the house managers and the peer support committee, right? Very nicely made. So when donors come in, you know, they can see some organization within the recovery program. In order to show that you're a really cool dude in front of your peers, ripped out the house manager section of the house manager they don't like. Tore that guy right out of the picture, right? Now, and that is destroying mission property, right?
That's not acceptable.
It's destroying mission property. And so we didn't know who did it. They got on the cameras and we saw exactly who did it and saw people standing around. In other words, showboating in front of the peers.
Yeah.
And so now the word gets out. That was Friday, Saturday. Word gets out that the staff knows about it, and that the rumor is they're quite unhappy about it, and actually sick of the games. You know, I mean, if we acted like that on a job, we'd be fired, right? You got to know how to get along with people that you might not particularly like. And this is a training ground to get you used to knowing how to be diverse enough to handle difficult circumstances. And I said, we will not create an atmosphere and baby the clients. If they can't learn to deal with a variety of circumstances, and then we're not going to soft pedal the thing. For example, if a house manager says, listen, you know the rule, you're not supposed to be in the kitchen after hours or whatever it may be. You need to leave. And then they say, well, you know what, I don't like how the house manager talked to me, because they didn't say, pretty please, can you get out of the kitchen? They simply just said, you got to leave. You got to get out. And they want the whole world to change, but they don't want to change. You see what I'm saying? They want everyone else to change, but they don't want to change. So in other words, they don't want recovery. They just want everyone else to be fixed so they can stay the same. And I said, we're not going to do that, because God uses people and circumstances to teach us how to build our character. So now, this is my thought. When you've done wrong and you know that everybody knows it, and you don't take initiation to correct your mistakes, and you make statements like, well, I'm going to wait till they come to me, and when they come and approach me, then I'll admit, yeah, I did something wrong. That's not right. That's not recovery. That's getting caught. That's being sorry for getting caught. That's not wanting to make amends. When you make amends, you want to go as quickly as possible to own up to what you've done. And I said, let me give it some time. I want to see, since the person knows, I want to see if they come to the staff and say, hey, look, I made a mistake. You know, when you own up to something, it says volumes about your character and about your recovery. And the person never came until we brought them into the meeting. And then it was change. I'm gonna change. I'm sorry, and this and that. But it's always like takes a meeting to get that done. Why can't we own up to our mistakes and quickly go and say, look, I'm gonna man up, or I guess what we would say here, woman up, and go and say, look, I'm the one who did it, and I am truly sorry. And whatever you gotta do, I'm willing to own up to it. I'm coming and confessing. To me, that speaks volumes to a person's character. But okay, we did some voting and discussion, and we decided the person has to go because of some other issues and stuff prior to that. Only here 1 week. We're supposed to take a step up. Violated our own rule, the 30-day rule. You can't come back for 30 days. It was 2 weeks. Brought the person back. And had a good talking. Said, now look, you gotta. So, due to some circumstances and further conversations and finding new discoveries of things that were going on, we decided the person has to leave. We say, but give us one more opportunity to do a further discussion. So the person leaves. Do a further discussion. Come back, we just can't get through. We felt the person had to leave. We get another client coming in, bravely walking into a closed door meeting, opening door and coming in. I want to talk to you as a group. I want to talk to the group and try to explain. You don't know the whole story. You know, trying to defend that client. You don't know first of all, you're not on the committee. Second of all, you don't know the whole story. You got to trust our decisions. And then another client just storms right into a closed door meeting. Now that's very disrespectful. Don't even knock, just walk brazenly right in with another opinion. And I said, you know what, we can't have this. And guess what? When I get up to walk out into the hallway, I got 15 guys standing out in the hallway. And at that point, some of them are threatening, saying, well, we're going to leave. I said, go ahead and leave. You can all leave. And I started telling them, you know what, you're out of here. You know what, you're out of here. You know, I was so disgusted that at the lack of integrity on their part. They're not focused on their recovery. They're trying to manipulate the outcome of decisions that have to be made. And it makes me wonder, like, where are people at? They only here a year and they're still stuck. Many people are still stuck in their destructive mindset and unwilling to make amends when they find that they've done something wrong, and unwilling to defend the recovery process and stand up for the integrity of the program. That troubles me, because it does occur on both ends, men and women, that we both have our issues and problems and things we got to deal with. So this whole section is about manning up and dealing with some tough issues and problems and knowing how to make amends to people we have harmed. So on this page of 78, in 9 cases, let me see, near the top of page 78, It says, in 9 cases out of 10, the unexpected happens. Sometimes the man we are calling upon admits his own fault, so feuds of years standing melt away in an hour. Rarely do we fail to make satisfactory progress. Our former enemies sometimes praise what we are doing and wish us well. Occasionally they will offer assistance. It should not matter. However, if someone does throw us out of his office, we have made our demonstration, done our part. It's water over the dam. Most alcoholics owe money. We do not dodge our creditors. Now, I know that's a big issue, but sometimes we do owe people money. And I know sometimes we can't correct, if we have bad credit, we can't really correct that because we've gotten in too deep. You know, if you owe $10,000, you're not going to be able to solve that. It gets wiped off your credit report, I think, in 7 years, and you can start over with some good credit. But as much as possible, there are individuals we have taken money from. Have you ever taken money out of someone's pocketbook?
Yes.
My nephew was a very bad guy. I thought I was bad, but he was very bad.
He was real good.
And while my grandmother was out hanging up clothes, he said, "Watch out for me. I want to get in her pocketbook and take some money." And I felt very bad. Like, don't do that to our grandmother. Like, I felt very bad. But he did it. And I can't recall where I've actually, like, stolen money out of a pocketbook. Or maybe I did. I just don't remember.
I stole my knowledge from mom and dad.
But sometimes we got to admit our fault. I've been making amends to 2 people, and I'm 57 years old and I'm still doing it. Every day of my life I do it. Before this day's out, I'll be making amends. And tomorrow I'll be doing it. And I'm going to continue to do it. Who do you think those 2 people are? Okay, my mother and father. Well, God, yeah, I constantly owe him. That's why I'm sitting here right now. This is me trying to make amends by coming and taking my time to share with you guys. But my parents, I feel I owe them because of stress, trouble, and heartache I've given them. They weren't perfect parents, and I'm not, like it says here, you don't look at their stuff. You look at your own stuff. I could say, well, you know, I'm going to fault them because they made some decisions that allowed me to make decisions that were not right, or they could have stopped me when I was trying to do that, or, you know, I could make a lot of statements, or I could say, well, you know, they gave me wrong advice. When I asked them advice, they gave me the wrong advice, and it just ruined my life. You know, you could say a lot of things, but we can't look at other people and try to rationalize things. It's on us, and we have to make amends. And I don't know about your parents, but my parents, I feel growing up, I owe them something to make amends back to them, and I do it, and I'm going to continue to do it until the day they pass away. And as long as it's within my power, I will never put them in a nursing home. So, why? Because they requested that. They don't want to be in a nursing home if they can help it. Therefore, I'm honor bound to fulfill that request if it's within my power to do so. And there are some people who are actually wealthy and have money and put their mother and father in a nursing home and never go to visit them. They're completely forgotten. I used to do ministry in nursing homes where we'd go and do a little service for them, and they long to have companionship and someone to care about them. They're totally forgotten by their relatives, left there to die and to waste away. And these are people that have it up here. They still know. They're not like insane. Totally forgot. How can you live with yourself and be like that?
I used to volunteer in a nursing
Yeah.
home, and like even like people I didn't even know that would visit them, like they literally like you could see in their eyes, you know, they were so excited.
Yeah. And the abuse is terrible in a nursing home. I've seen it.
I actually just got a call.
Yeah.